Hey, Baba, are you doing a podcast?
Welcome back, everybody, to Wild Thoughts Podcast with Jamie and Ranse.
Rances.
And if you have been following along, this is season 3, hashtag Married to a Latino. And if you have not been following, welcome. I want to say this is probably the peak of my podcasting career. We just got back from experiencing snow for the first time. Now, I actually have been to places where it snowed, but I haven't actually like interacted with the snow and like picked it up and whatever. But it was so cool. It was Rance's first time experiencing snow. How did you like it, babe?
I love it. I think it was pretty good. Like pretty crazy. Like picking up the snow. Like no, like it's really like in the movies. Like you know, like very soft. So I love it. I think it was pretty good.
Would you move where it snows?
No.
Definitely not. Like we enjoyed ourselves in Colorado. We went to Breckenridge as well as Frisco. But maybe like a 3-4 day trip, that's it. I did have like a massive migraine the first night, and I think it was from if we had like an early morning catching the flight, getting the car rental, driving 2 hours. But I also suffer from like hectic migraines, and so I think the altitude adjustment, it was hectic though. Like it lasted all night, and usually when I sleep, the migraine like disappears. But then the next morning, I had like this pressure on the right hand side, all through my eye. And I actually had to make myself throw up and then go sleep again to start feeling better. But like throughout that whole day, I was nauseous, and it's not a liquor feeling, but we pushed through and we had a good time. And then I feel
Yeah.
like Rance's got sick now. He's got like the reverse effects of it because um he's home today because he's sick.
She never believe when I'm sick, so that's why she did like that. I still was sick. I'm still sick.
He's
But
sick, but he's sick is he needs to stay in bed all day. All day. Okay, so we actually, there's a lot that's been happening over the last 2 months in the world, and I think it's very sensitive. And I think today's episode, we should touch base on it a bit because you are Venezuelan and there's a lot happening in Venezuela right now, what that has been happening, but also very sensitive situations is going on in America, and we're both immigrants, and so we're going to talk openly about it. Rancis has no idea what this episode is about, so everything for him, it's unscripted, it's coming as we go. We are not disclosing what party we are for, what party we are against. We are just going to speak from our own point of view and emotions and what we have experienced. More of him, because I'll be asking him questions. But before we start with that, let's do a little bit of icebreaker. Okay, baby, I'm gonna ask you some questions and you're gonna answer it super fast, okay? It's like a this or that. You have to choose between one of the two things that I say. Okay. Arepas or Gatsby?
arepas. Oh no,
What
Gatsby.
the fuck?
No, Gatsby.
Okay, that was a tester. Okay, you can't go back now. Okay. Chorizo or burros?
Chorizo. Yes, 100 times.
I think he hasn't had Dania sausage yet, or he has had, but I don't think he's going to remember what it is for me to do the comparison. But yes, I do think chorizo will win over burros.
Samosa o empanadas.
Samosa.
Oh my God, you crazy.
From Cape Town, from South Africa, South African samosa. If we're comparing American samosa, no, I will do an empanada.
Okay.
Okay, Venezuelan empanada or Argentinian empanada?
Venezuelan empanada.
Never. Argentinian empanada. It's like the pie pastry, whereas Venezuelan empanadas are like the milli meal made into a pastry. Reggaeton or Afrobeats?
Reggaeton.
Poiki or Paballon?
Poiki.
Poiki. Um, Peppermint.
No.
No. Peppermint Fridge Tart or Tres Leches?
Tres leches.
Baby, fuck off. No
No.
way.
I don't even like peppermint.
You only don't like it because you just don't like the peppermint. But if it was made without the peppermint, would you take that or Tres
Okay, that's
Leches?
different, but that needs to be said. Then tart,
Okay, Fridge Tart or Tres Leches.
maybe fridge tart.
Okay. I would say like that was 80 or 85% South African stuff. So we're converting him slowly but surely. Okay. So, over the last month, something big happened in Venezuela. And the day that it happened, Rancis was glued. Well, I would say for the 3 days after it happened, 2-3 days after, he was glued to his phone, the TV, the radios, anything that he could watch the news on. And I made a video of him watching the news, and I had posted it onto my Instagram, and it kind of went viral. But there was comments, both good and bad, and there was a lot of comments from people that were saying, yes, he's happy because he's actually not affected by it. He lives in America. He's not in Venezuela. He's never been to Venezuela. He's not a real Venezuelan. And one of the comments was, apparently the people of Venezuela are not happy about it. So I'm going to ask him some questions to clarify and clear up some of the comments that was posted. First of all, for those of you who are commenting on the situation and don't actually know where Venezuela is, baby, where is Venezuela?
In Venezuela, I mean, in Central America, no, Latin American.
Latin America, in
Yeah,
South
Latin
America.
American, South America, next to Colombia and Brazil.
What is Venezuela known for in terms of its resources that it provides?
Oil.
Yes.
I mean, of course, oil in Venezuela is really big.
Yes. It's actually huge in oil reserves. It can be one of the largest in the world, to be honest.
Yeah.
What is your favorite thing about Venezuela? Like it could be culture, or as a kid, you remember something specifically to Venezuela. What is your favorite memory of Venezuela?
I think it's just, yeah, the culture of the life, it's not that speed life like how it's here, that you feel like you just work and work. I think over there it's more like, you know, you
It's
feel,
laid back.
yeah. So,
Now, I will say I haven't been to Venezuela, but obviously I am around a lot of Venezuelan. A lot of people actually ask, how is it being married to somebody out of my culture? And it's very easy because I think that Venezuelans and Cape Coloureds, and when I say Cape Coloureds, is a race and culture from South Africa, specifically in Cape Town. It's very similar in terms of like the type of music we listen to, how we flavor and cook our food. Our culture is very warm and like homey. We offer great hospitality. We're very friendly. Yeah. Would you say our cultures are similar?
yeah, I think it's similar in a lot of things, but I think everybody, whatever the country you are, as much as similar you is, if I have to compare Colombians with Venezuelan, like, it's very similar, like the culture and stuff, but we also very different in certain way. So I feel like, yeah, you do have some similarities, but there's also a lot of different.
We know about a lot of differences in our marriage, right?
Yeah. Don't marry a South African. I'm kidding.
Aha, yeah, you said that very fast. Um, for those of you who don't know, Maduro is the president of Venezuela.
Was the president of Venezuela?
I'm saying is because
He
we
is not right
don't.
now. He's another president already in charge.
Okay, so was the president of
Exactly.
Venezuela. However, um, he wasn't rightfully voted into power. There's a bit of corruption that happened, and when people vote, the ballots were not counted correctly, or they were destroyed, or whatever,
It was just manipulated.
manipulated,
Always.
whatever you want to believe, or how it's constructed in your way. Yes, he became the president, and he was the president for a few years. However, Venezuela has been on the downward spiral for years. Now, let's get a few things out of the way. Have you ever lived in Venezuela?
Yes, of course.
Have you ever lived under Maduro?
Yeah, Maduro and Chavez, both of them.
When you moved to America, did you still have family living in Venezuela?
Yes.
Okay. Do you still now have family living in Venezuela?
Yes.
So, there's some clarification. So, he's not a Venezuelan who's never been to Venezuela, who's never lived under Maduro, having an opinion about the situation just because he lives in another country. Why did you need to leave Venezuela? Why did you choose to come to America?
Of course, for better opportunities and because the country was not going anywhere. And, graduating for high school, you're going to go and find other better things, but mainly for soccer, of course. But of course, I left because of at that moment that I left, I actually was when it was pretty bad. Like, we had a lot of protests and, a lot of people was leaving at that time. It was 10 years ago. I only been 10 years in the US. So.
If Venezuela was better, would you ever move back?
Mm,
You
I
don't
think it
know.
have to be like I have to see what that better is gonna look like to see if it's worth it. But I I think I could possibly retire in Venezuela. Maybe set it like that if it gets that way because it's not gonna be something that's gonna happen like right away. It's a lot that this is just the started on probably a lot of time for the country to become good.
As of today, almost 8 million Venezuelans have immigrated to other places. And so I just want people to realize that people have been leaving not only just recently but for years. I would say like maybe the last, what would you say,
Probably
15
15 years, yeah. Because
15
I left
years.
10 years ago.
Yeah. So 8 million. I don't wanna pull it on my ass, but I think that's more than 50% of what the population actually was. And so people don't just choose to leave their home countries. Yes, people travel and people explore the world, and some people want to move to another country. But in these circumstances, this is literally what you said, is to you have to find a better life. And I think in Venezuelans situations, it's also finding safer life and how more of a safe environment, not only for yourself but for your kids. And from what I know and our family members, we know people that have left absolutely everything, their houses, their cars,
Business.
their clothes, to come or to go to another country and then start over as a dishwasher, as a cooker, as a whatever. So I think that people need to be mindful when they are trying to shove comments left, right, and center. But Yes, going back to it. So, about a month ago, Maduro and his wife was taken.
Maduro and his wife. Maduro and Celia Flores.
Maduro and Celia Flore, his wife, was taken hostage. Was arrested. Was arrested. And this was obviously a big world incident because you know channels were not appropriately gone through to have him arrested and taken from Venezuela and brought to America. Um, we're not going to dive into is it right, is it wrong, is it would we do we regret what happened, do we this, we're not diving into that. But for yourself and the people of Venezuela, when you woke up that morning, what did you feel when you saw the news?
I couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't believe it. Like for everybody, like I live in Venezuela literally 17 years of my life on the same regiment. So I just couldn't believe it. I thought it was a joke, like because for so many years, you know, everybody's been every department, even from the U.S., has been saying they're gonna try doing this, they're gonna go there, they're gonna go there, and for the first time, finally they did. So it was like, wow, this is crazy, you know.
And to go off the one comment where somebody said they think the people of Venezuela in Venezuela is not happy about it. Do you think that that's true?
No, that's not true. Of course, there is people that was affected, you know, because they say like, yeah, nobody die, and they might some when the bombs, crash, but at the end of the day, it's nothing. It had to be done. It had to be done because it was basically the only way for them to fight like this major group of people that have basically kidnapped a country, because it is kidnapped. So that's why it's been for so many years like that, because there's so much power strong that if it was not this way, unfortunately, it was not going to be able to do it in another way. So of course there's a lot of people happy, and there's maybe some minor people, yeah, that they will be saying like stuff, oh no, but very minor, probably.
Do so there are talks about people saying obviously Trump had alter ulterior motives. Do you think he had or has ulterior motives for Venezuela?
What's what is ulterior
Ulterior motive. No. Ulterior motives is like, ¿cómo se? Our daughter just woke up.
¿Qué pasó, mi
Hi,
bebé?
baby.
Why she get up?
So our daughter just woke up. I think it was my laughing that woke her up. And now she's just sitting there watching us. Um, Ulterior motives is like he has another reason for doing what he did.
Okay. No, I mean, yes and no. I mean, anybody could be so really stupid, like to just really think like he just wanna play Simon Bolivar, like the liber, and freedom a country. No, of course he wants something back, but I do believe that besides the wanting the oil, and like what people doesn't understand is that this country is in the backyard of the United States. So that's why so many departments before Trump have said we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. I don't know why they never did, because again, it have to be how it was done, and like I said, he probably violated a lot of international codes and stuff. That's why maybe nobody else really had the let me go and do it. So
The
that's one.
balls.
Yeah, the
Nobody
ball,
had the balls to do it.
and that's one. And second, the other thing is that uh probably the majority of the people that have immigrated from Venezuela has been the United States. So with that being said, that's what when you know we say in the backyard, like not just because of all the people that left immigrate the US, it's also a lot of resources that as basically neighbors, because that's how it goes by countries. As neighbors, the United States has no getting benefits from being neighbor to that country. That it shouldn't be like that. And the reason why they never got the benefits is because they close relationship from all the government issues and stuff. So at the end of the day, besides the oil, getting back that relationship is what the United States wanted because it's gonna benefit them in all ways, and he also is gonna benefit the country. And again, we're not talking about miles away, miles. It's a country that is next to it, so it is some like a lot of benefits that is gonna come to the U.S. of course, and a lot of things that he's looking at. But I do think like uh, it's more than just the oil, like how people just said, like the oil is just, yeah, it is one part of the whole thing situation, but I think it's more about than just being the oil.
Have you spoken to anybody in Venezuela since it's happened?
Yeah, to a few friends, a few people.
How do they feel is the atmosphere and since it happened?
I think, I mean, like I said, even the people I have even spoken to people that were from that party, that I have friends that supported Chavez, not supported Maduro's that much, but supported like that, the, that region. And they even said like they're not like super excited and happy with the way that things went because, like I said, there is some people that live close to where the bombs were, and yeah, some people were affected, but and that's the part that you know
Now, when all this was happening, Venezuela doesn't have access to news, right?
that's the other thing. Yeah, no, there's no news in Venezuela. There's only private channels that you can
So,
see.
like, if I follow somebody on Instagram and they are reporting something live, or is social media also kind of censored?
Everything, yeah, is censored too.
So, for the people in Venezuela, they actually had no idea what was happening at the time.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
even after Maduro was taken, the only way that they knew that was if they reached out or heard from people that were outside of Venezuela, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's what they are putting all that back right now. Like just in the time that this happened, probably like what, a
A
month.
month.
Airlines are going back, like news channel are going back, like everything that used to like
That
used to
was
be
taken away.
yeah, it was taken away, is going back, and that's what people don't understand. Like more than the oil, it was more of
The life. Like
inversion.
there was no
Yeah,
actual life,
there was no
freedom of
actual,
life.
yeah, and there was no life from the US over there, like coming from investors, from everything, like even Hilton, like the Hiltons, like probably there was 100 in the whole Venezuela. All those were removed, like
Hmm.
everything that had to
Anything American.
deal with America was removed from that country. So that's
What do you think politics affected the most in Venezuela? Like, was it food, electricity? Like, if you have to choose one thing that was hectically affected and people suffered from, what would it be?
I think food and shrink, like uh
So, like, when we went to Cuba, we were in the city center, and the city center still had access to electricity, minimal food, but the country was super run down. Like infrastructure, we saw people's houses was honestly like they lived between like buildings crumbling around them. Would you say that Venezuela was the same, or is that majority of outside of like Caracas, like big cities?
No, that's another level. When we went to Cuba, that's another level of poverty. I think Venezuela was heading into that direction. Probably, I mean, yeah, they might be like very small, like towns, like where cities, like where it could look like that. For example, when we went, that we'll see like the supermarket only like shelves like with three, four things.
Mm.
It could be like that in some areas, but no exactly like that. I think Cuba is at the point that is critical. But I think we were heading into that direction, to be honest.
How do you think the older generation to maybe your and the younger generation feel about the situation? Do you think that it's 50-50, or do you think that there's maybe the older generation that is more leaning towards it's wrong or is right? Maybe older generation feeling it's more right because they have gone through most of Maduro's effects.
I think both generations are feeling like, you know, proud and happy about what happened. But I think mainly my generation, like probably the youngest generation, is probably the ones that are most happy about it because everybody have to leave their countries to make another life in another country. Like that's a lot of people from the old generation have done it too, but mainly I think has been like probably the people from the you know 20 years ago that have to like go to another country and basically build the
Mm.
family outside your country, and
Yeah.
it's the
Well, we know because I mean, we've been together since 2018. And since we met, you've been saying, like, I wish, obviously, because we travel a lot, like, I wish Venezuela could be one place that we get to visit, get to go. We've talked about having property there, but then said the way things are going, it didn't make sense for us to, have a property there. And then we had a baby, and it affected you more that, like your wife and your kid would possibly never know where you were like born and raised compared to like when you go to South Africa. Every time we go, I show you something new from my childhood, like where I went to school, where I lived. We go to a mall and I'll tell you stories about like at 16 I went to this mall and I walked across the street to go to a under 18 party. um and you always say like that was one thing that affects you, is that we will never get to experience that
hmm
side, because there's one thing for you to tell us about your childhood, but to actually experience it and see it, it's different. And he's tried to convince me a few times that we can go. I think that Rances still sees Venezuela how it was, what, 10 years ago when he was lost there. And everybody that has been there after he has left has honestly told us it's not worth it. Don't risk your safety. Don't go, especially like with me. People can see I'm a foreigner. Now that he's American, he might be targeted that he's American. Um, and so, what do you feel now? Do you feel that Venezuela is going to get to a point where we will be able to actually go and visit?
yeah, for sure. That I do think is gonna happen like very quick. It's just about everybody, kind of like taking the risk and really go through. Because when I say like, it's just because media always and people always gonna make, but things like look worse of how it is. Because I do have people that live there. I do still know people that live over there and have a normal life. But I think
But
that
they're
part,
used to it as well. That's like
yeah, they're
I go
used to.
home now and, like I'm walking on eggshells. I'm
Yeah,
always on guard because South Africa for me is not home anymore. It's home, but I have been out of there for so long that I don't feel the same confidence
Yeah.
as when I used to live there, because when I used to live there, it's like you kind of turn a blind eye, and you're already so street smart to knowing the different things and how it develops over the years. But now being out of South Africa for over 10 years, it's like my safety that I know is 10 years ago. I don't know the safety of right now or how I should be.
Yeah, no, 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 for sure. Yeah, but I do think that part is gonna come very soon. I feel like they are gonna invest a lot of security, a lot of like, I mean, there's other examples that you could know that, and just because the US is supporting the country now, that's the only reason why I would think it's gonna be really fast. Because if other countries have go through things similar and have changed completely a whole country, like just for example El Salvador, since the president 5 years that 4 years that president's been in charge,
And
and
now it's open for
and
tourists,
four
it's
years
safety.
ago that was a must. It was a country controlled by the gangs, and like it was the I think it was the second violent most dangerous country in the whole world, and now it's literally one of the safest.
Yeah.
So, and that happens just on his own country with his own resources, just a good president, like somebody just. So imagine now this
And
in
didn't
Venezuela.
they did this to another president as well? No, you said they did this to
Yeah,
in Panama,
yeah,
right?
to the president of Panama they did too, and yeah, and the country also changed a lot to the point that a lot of people go on vacation to Panama. A lot of people go to like Panama. Panama is, I mean, I hear a lot of people that is going there all the time. I never been, but I
Yeah.
think it's.
I mean, but Salvador is one, we just saw that recently. We were considering going, and we were too minded because of the safety. And then we did some research and we just realized how it's doing much better. Um, and we actually just met somebody who goes to surf there quite often. And she also said, it's really changed. It's very safe for tourists now. Um, yeah, so I think for us, as soon as we can get the opportunity, um, Venezuela will be on the top of our list for our next South American destination. And the same as what we did in Cuba, I think that we would want to do that in Venezuela. Just go, be able to take some resources, visit some kids in school, just spend some time out there, do some community work and give back, and just immerse in the culture that my husband is from, and be able to experience it and kind of see the side of him that we know but now in itself. That would be amazing. And I will say, I think, like, for your mom as well, this is a big step, because when his mom came out here, she had one suitcase and hasn't been able to go back to get her clothes, to get what she actually wants. Like, she came here on a holiday.
Mm-hmm.
She came here on a holiday, and um,
No, not a
things.
holiday for my accident.
Oh yeah, no, but she went back after your accident, or no? Oh shit. Okay, so she came here after Rances had his accident. One suitcase, and things just started going further downhill for Venezuela, and they made the decision that it would be better for her to stay, because him and his siblings were all here safety wise. It just made sense for her to stay. But yeah, she never got to say goodbye to her brothers and sisters. She never got to say goodbye to her friends. She never got to actually pack what she wanted, because she was relocating to another country. And so I think for her, it would be an amazing opportunity. I feel like Venezuelans couldn't even get a passport. Like, you
Mm.
can't get a passport here in America. Um, they have to fly outside. I think, like, the closest place to get the passport renewal is Mexico. Um, and then not with only that, like, we went to Dubai 3 months ago, and even though we traveled on our American passports, he was flagged because he's Venezuelan, and so he had to go for extra screening. Um, they asked him some questions because he had actually traveled to Dubai before with his Venezuelan passport, and so that's how they picked it up. And yeah, it's just even South Africa, when he visited South Africa, they were not letting him go because South Africa was not allowing Venezuelans in. He had an extension passport at the time. They were not allowing extension passports through Dubai. Um, so I do think this is going to be, you know, I think, but I also hope and we pray that this is an um, not uphill battle, but what's the word I'm looking for? Like positive.
Yeah.
I hope it's a positive outcome. Again, we just want to reiterate, not neither of us saying what has happened is right or wrong. Um, innocent people were hurt in the process. People see it as a terrorist attack. We're not saying that it was or it wasn't. Um, we are just praying for a better Venezuela. We're praying that this is a positive change. Um, and whatever the ulterior motives were, that it just brings good to the people of Venezuela and people can start living their lives the way that they deserve to. So, yes, is there anything else you want to say on Venezuela? No? Okay. So, that was our episode for today. It's a little bit like different to what I normally do. I don't normally talk about these kind of things, but I thought it was really cool um, being able to share the knowledge that we have, but also like the pure emotion behind it from somebody that has been in Venezuela, lived there, experienced the situation, has family there, and yeah, we are. Oh, he had just said that his accident was what brought his mom here. And so we are trying to actually do something really cool based around his accident. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that next week. Make sure you tune in. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to ask us anything, make sure you DM us, send us an email, follow us on socials. My Instagram is wildthoughts_podcast. Until next week.